Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Stormworks. We are once again in the workbench. We're working on our land crawler. This thing's getting pretty close to done. We just gotta finish up some of the rooms down here, so that's pretty much what we're gonna be doing today. So we're just gonna get right into it. We're gonna start detailing up this engine room. It's kind of looked the same for a long time, and I would like to make it look a little bit better as well as get a few systems in. So we don't have a fire suppression system, but we have a ton of water on board, so there's no need to not put one in. So we're going to work on adding one of those today, as well as, like I said, just some, a little bit of detailing here or there. I'm going to add a few more kind of access hatches and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much what we got in store for today. You'll also notice I did a little bit of work off camera, but it was mostly kind of microcontroller work, so I didn't really record it. I'll show that off later, but I got the gimbal camera hooked up into the cockpit, and I got all of that pretty much implemented nice and fine. There's buttons for night vision, lasers, tracking, the stabilizer mode, all of that good stuff. So I'll check that out later, but for now, we are going to get right into the building, into the engine room. And real quick, before I kind of let the time lapse roll, I just want to say if you like this series, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. This shouldn't be too much longer of a series. I know this is kind of a slow one on our channel, but that really was the point when I started it, was just a slower build where, I kind of just take my time a little bit more, and this can kind of go on the back burner, I guess, a little bit while I work on bigger things. So you'll also notice later, if you have really, really keen eyes and you check out my save files, that I have a pretty big project in between, and I did mention that in our PvP map episode that released earlier this week, but if you didn't watch that, definitely go check it out. But what I basically was talking about is the next big project on the channel, which is going to be an oil rig. And so if you guys are interested in that, definitely drop a comment down below. Let me know any features or whatnot that you guys kind of want to see in that. But the plan for that is that it's going to be one button to drill. And so you guys don't really need to know all the ins and outs of how the oil rig works. You can kind of just click one button and it will automatically drill, grab rods, do everything. And as well as it's also going to have a refinery on board and slurry filters and everything, while also being self-propelled. So the idea with it is it's going to be a ocean-going oil rig that you can drive to any oil surveys that you buy. And you can click one button and kind of walk away, and it'll just start drilling oil. It'll collect the oil, it'll refine the oil, and then you can export the refined fuels. So that's kind of the plan, and I think that's kind of a exciting little challenge, it is a challenge for me, but I think it's kind of something different. I don't really usually do too much of the oil stuff, to be honest. I've never really played with it, so it's been a lot of kind of learning for me. But I think that's kind of something cool that we got coming up. And, once we get this land crawler done, we obviously will replace this. I like to usually have 2 builds going on the channel. So the PvP map, that'll be pretty quick. That's also going to be releasing pretty soon, as well as, this land crawler. We're probably going to get onto the workshop in the next month or so. So definitely stick around for that. But I'm just kind of jibber jabbering on. So I'm going to let the time lapse roll, and we will reconvene in a few minutes. Real quick, guys, there's two things I wanted to mention, actually. So we're coming back around the time where, I'd like to start hearing some suggestions from you guys, what you want to see built. So, once this gets done, we're obviously going to have to replace it with another build. So definitely let me know down below about that too. But also the other thing is, sorry about the background noise. It's winter here and my heater is running like crazy. We are getting hammered with snow. So All right, so we did a lot of kind of weird stuff there. So, real quick, I just want to talk about what I did. So, I added a secondary battery system. So, that is just in case the main battery dies, which it shouldn't. It's absolutely massive. But that is just an easy way to kind of give the ship enough charge to restart the engine, which will get the generators going. And, if the engine is broken, unfortunately, that'll just give you a little bit more charge time. So anyways, that's what we added. I also am going to start working on a little seat that kind of shows some engineering data. I added a access hatch to the upper floor, so you can go from the deck where the refueling ports are to the engine room. And then, I kind of added some equipment and whatnot too. So we'll get into the fire suppression in a little bit. The valves I were playing with, that was actually just fuel cutoff valves if you saw the label. That's something I like to do on all of my ships just in case, you have some sort of catastrophic failure. You can at least run down into the engine room, turn all the fuel cutoff valves closed, and then obviously the engine will stop running on its own because it's getting starved of oil or fuel. Sorry, talking is hard, but yeah. So that's kind of what we did there, and I'm just kind of going around adding some lights real quick. I thought that catwalk was kind of cool. This space over here is really awkward, so I didn't really know what to do with it. But I know, I wanted to get a way to get to the upper floor from the engine room. So one thing that's kind of weird about the layout of this thing is if you didn't know, the internal ship can carry a full standard cargo container. So if you do have a cargo container in that hallway behind us, moving around is going to be a little bit more difficult. So I want to make sure that there's a couple ways to get around. But enough of that. Right here is going to be our little engine panel. I have 2 fuel gauges for each one of our tanks. There's 2 different tanks. And then I'm going to add a dial for the temperature. And then, we'll get a key button in for the fire suppression system. Real quick, I'm just going to leave this microcontroller in. Very simple. This is just for reading the composite engine temperatures. If you guys didn't know, it's on channel 3. And a nice little tip about that is you can hover your composite over the cylinder head, and it will give you a couple of the inputs. So the first is, I believe, air volume. The second, I think, is fuel volume. I could be wrong about those, but the third is temperature. So we need a composite read for channel 3 for the temperature, and then I just hooked that up to a threshold gate, and the threshold gate starts at 95 and goes to infinity. And so if the temperature is over that, it'll say the engine's hot. I'm going to add those indicators also into the bridge. You guys will see that in a little bit, but that way you don't have to come down here to kind of get an update on your engine. Right now, we're going to work on finally adding that fire suppression system. So I'm just pulling a line off of our main water line. I'm going to throw a pump onto it. This is going to get hooked right into the battery, so you don't need to have any electrical breakers on. That is kind of a safety thing. You don't want to lose power and then your engine turns on fire, and then you also don't have a way to turn the pumps on. So the keys and the pump is hooked up to the battery straight, and it's not going through the breaker. This is something I also try to do on most of my vehicles. It's a kind of factor of safety thing. So that's kind of what I'm working on now. You guys are going to see, I'm just going to pull a pipe all the way across, and it's going to run adjacent to the light bulbs. And so we can kind of make it look like it's hanging from the ceiling nicely. And then I'm just going to throw a little nozzle on for each cylinder. right, so just a little bit of minor detailing that we got to add up. I'm just going to add a quick little paint block clipboard onto the desk over here, just something to make it look a little bit less plain. And then, the one thing we learned from the last episode, we drove around, we did a kind of a fake trucking mission, if you will. If you didn't see that, definitely go check it out. We made an absolute muck of a town, and we kind of failed at delivering something, but also didn't fail. So I don't know, you can be the judge of that. But yeah, one of the things we learned from that was the corners need to be rounded off a little bit more. So we'll get that done too. And then as per usual, we'll kind of take this into the world, and I'll kind of show you what we've worked on today. So I'm just working on getting this thing started up. One other thing you'll notice that I added off camera was the brake lights. We didn't have any brake lights on this thing, so I decided I finally should add some brake lights. Not that they're honestly entirely needed. If you rear end something this large, it's kind of your fault regardless. But yeah, that's something we worked on. And I noticed that I actually put the threshold gate on backwards because the brake numbers are not negative. So let me just switch this around real quick, and then we will go on a quick little drive. So get it spawned in. I'm just going to no clip up here, and we're going to get the engine started up. Throw 0.25 in the map. I think that sounds good. And yeah, we'll just kind of head out of the hangar. And I did, as per usual, I did a little bit more work on the grip. I think it's driving a lot better, and the brake lights look pretty good. I was thinking about doing something with paintable indicators, but for something this size, I really wanted the actual illumination of the lights. And I know I discussed that a couple episodes back. The paintable indicators don't actually emit light, so you generally would have to hide some sort of light block behind them, but that's all right. I think just the line of 3 lights looks good enough. We're gonna have to get reverse lights in here too, but that'll come at a later date. For now, I am just gonna rip it up the mountain. You can see it's driving a lot better in my mind, and we're just gonna kind of stop around here quick. Nice and not level at all, but I guess we'll test our brakes out. And I'm going to go check out the engine room as well as the camera system. So real quick, here's the camera. I changed the way it mounted, so it now faces down, which makes the stabilizer and tracking mode work a lot better. I don't know if you knew that, but for my experience, that is generally the case. But it has all of the controls: night vision, laser, stabilizer, and it has a tracking mode. So enough of that. The bridge is starting to come along pretty nicely. We got to add a few more controls, like for the water cannons as well as the crane operator. But again, that'll come at a later date. We're kind of done building for this one. So I'm just going to head back into the engine room, turn the lights on, see how the lights look, and we will finish this video out. So if you guys made it to the end, thank you so much. As usual, it helps the channel out a lot. Don't forget to hit a like and the subscribe button. Come back for more. We got some really cool builds coming up. Definitely let me know down in the comments below something that you would like to see me build. It's probably going to be a larger project, because after this is done, we're going to have the oil rig, and then another obviously larger project. So I'm thinking probably a warship, something like that, but we'll see. Just if you guys have any suggestions, definitely let me know. But that's all we got for today. So again, thank you guys so much, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.